Hey, what's happening, everybody? It's Friday. It's Lifestyle Focus Friday. How are you? I am so happy to be here today. What's happening, everybody in the room? Can you guys catch up? I just want to give a moment for everybody to get into the room. Give a moment for everybody to get in the room. How's everybody doing today? Hey, I'm Ronco Johnson, your host, Lifestyle Focus Friday. It is Lifestyle Focus Friday. We got a wonderful show coming up for you today. And today is Make 'em Believe Day. Today, you can see I'm in my casual look, and we're going to have a conversation that I think will generate more response from you out there. And I already see people coming into the room. I hope you had a fantastic week. A lot of things going on, a lot of opportunities. People are saying good things. Happy Friday out there to you, Catherine. I see you. Thank you for joining us very early on this Friday afternoon. You know, we are here every Friday, 1 o'clock p.m. This is when the lights go out. Are you ready? This episode is called Lifestyle Focus Friday. So today we're going to talk about, well, what we do talk about is what millionaires and billionaires do. What millionaires and billionaires do. I think part of the pattern is just understanding that we have to follow what other people are doing. Sometimes we don't have those relationships in our families, maybe not in our immediate circle, but there's information out there that you can track that's trackable. And you can basically learn from what other people have done. And the mindset, it's not necessarily what they're doing, it's how they're doing it. Why do they think the way they think? Well, today we're going to talk about a couple topics that I think will keep you interested. Keep you interested. So first of all, before I jump into it today, let me welcome you to Lifestyle Focus Friday. For you guys that are just popping in, I'm your host, Ronco Johnson, keeping you company this afternoon. And before we get started, I want you to go on down there and do one thing. It doesn't cost you anything to be in this room. Just remember, go right here, right there. It's streaming across the bottom. Don't forget to like us, subscribe to us, share it. And don't forget to hit the notification bell that's somewhere down there. That way you can get all of our updates as we continue forward. We always want to know what's going on. So here's some of the rules for the group. If you have a comment, we just ask for you to put takeaways in your comments. We want to see your comments because I want to know what you're taking away from today's content and what interests you. Why are you here? And maybe there's a topic you want to hear more about. We want to know. Our Lifestyle Focus Wealth community definitely wants to know these things. Why? Because everything we need is in the room. And I say that all the time. So first of all, you can go to our website at lifestylefocuswealth.com and join our community. Our community is a community of people already taking advantage of the tools that we're talking about to get you ahead, what millionaires and billionaires do. And we've spent a lot of time focusing on our secret financial tool called life insurance. We spent a lot of time talking about that. But what we find in the community is that a lot of people don't know how we employ those concepts into our lifestyle. So today we're having a different topic, and we're talking about topics that you can use in your everyday life. Today I'm going to give you 4 ways to set financial boundaries between you and a new partner. 4 ways to set financial boundaries between you and a new partner. So I'm looking forward to your responses and jumping right into it. So don't forget, if you make a comment, put takeaways down in the bottom so we can see what's going on with you, okay? I really appreciate that. All right, so what we're going to talk about, we're talking about how we can protect ourselves financially, emotionally, and mentally in relationships of any kind. This can be a personal relationship. This can be a business relationship. All we want to do is be able to protect ourselves, if that makes sense, right? Right? So before I get started, we're going to make sure that we get our good sponsor, L.R. Johnson and Associates, some love today. We don't want any chapped lips going on. We don't want any chapped lips going on while I'm up here talking because I get so excited I get drenched. So our number one idea for today, these are just ideas that may be able to help you, okay? They're just ideas that may be able to help you. And these ideas, I can tell you, will help you look at things a little bit differently. I was reading an article before I get started. I was reading an article that really captured my imagination just a little bit. And I wanted to just kind of expound on what I read by this, the article is by Riley Amond. And he talks about the financial health and setting these boundaries and how you can protect yourself. And I thought it was interesting. I thought it was interesting because here we want to talk about how you build yourself financially, mentally, emotionally, socially. And I think these are matters that we have to discuss. Well, one of the foundational pieces of anything planning that we find is setting realistic goals. It doesn't matter if we're setting a fitness goal. If our goal is to lose 5 pounds, we have to set a goal. If our financial goal is to make $100,000 next year or to be debt-free, we need to set a goal. Well, in this situation, it still applies. And what I liked about his article was the fact that these are basic principles that we use every day that you can apply in multiple different places of your life. Because at the end of the day, we're really focusing on your lifestyle. And if you have these principles throughout your lifestyle, it's very easy. Your relationships will have boundaries. Your business relationships will have boundaries. Your personal relationships will have boundaries. And you'll start to see them the same way. So let's jump into it. Setting realistic goals. One of the highest priorities when it comes to giving yourself some boundaries, if you will, is, if I were entering into a new relationship, I may want to have a conversation with my business partner or my love interest about, hey, what do we want to do? What are my goals? Are the goals about paying off my credit cards and getting my credit card debt down? Is it about taking care of our kids? You can see that scrolling down at the bottom. And the original author of this particular article brought these ideas up, and I thought it was something good to talk about. And I thought it would be something that we should have more dialogue on. And so let's jump into it, right? So if you could set those parameters, obviously we want to have communication with our partners from the very beginning, but we want to start talking about things like, how do we pay our credit card down? How do we create a legacy fund? How do we create our emergency fund? Here's my goal. This is my take on what I want. And then you get to hear your other partner do the same thing. And I think what happens when we do these things, it leads right down the path to our very secret financial tool. It's how we're going to apply these things, how we're going to borrow money out to pay our credit cards down, how we're going to pay for college tuition for our kids down the way. Do we want to do it with cash money, or do we want to do it with dollars that we have smartly put away in our secret financial tools that can continue to pay us dividends and interest and allow us to use our money in a way that we think is efficient for us in our lifestyle. I think that's just so important. And when we're talking about creating a financial lifestyle for where everyone's at today, we're not leaving anything out. We're not leaving anything out at all. We're just saying that it's probably better to have these goals in place right up front. Put your goal list, just like we did at the beginning of the year. You do your plan, you put your goal on it, and what they say, you plan your work and work your plan. And at that point, you're ready to go. As I can see, I've got calls coming in right as we go live. So no, I can't answer. We are live. This is not recorded. So, but I will definitely get back to you. But number two, our number two goal is to think about what we need individually. You know, I think in any plan we got to be a little selfish. You got to be a little selfish, and in that you want to know, what is it that I need? What is it that we need when I'm prioritizing my goals? Um, that way, at the end of the day, I know that the things I wanted to get accomplished, along with my partner's ideas, that we're moving in the right direction. There was a study that the author brought up, and he said nearly 40% of all adults who responded to a survey that was done, and it said that they've only had enough money to cover emergency expenses less than $400. That means that people are walking around and they don't have the means, and they haven't planned for a lights out moment. And if you haven't started planning for a lights out moment, I think it's probably a better idea that we start thinking about and prioritizing the things that we need before we engage into relationships, before we engage in partnerships. Because at the end of the day, if we cannot, I'll move my water before I knock it out of the place. If we're not in a position to take care of ourselves, when we subject ourselves to more increased financial pressure, we're not only harming the other people that are involved, but we're harming ourselves. Why? Because that's preventing us from being able to make sound decisions. And if that's the case, then what are we doing? What are we doing? We don't want to. We're not doing anything to put more pressure on the relationship between myself, my investors, my friends, my family. We want to be able to put ourselves in a position where definitely we can stabilize, move on, and move forward, and hopefully start getting into more opportunities out there. If that makes sense to you, if I'm going too fast, let me know. Hit us a click down in the comments. I want to know what you're thinking. I want to know what you're thinking thus far. All right. What are we thinking about? Because we're here to make them believe. We're here to make them believe today. So I see a couple of comments already popping up. Let me take a moment to see what we got. Hey, Lilo, I see you. I see you guys jumping in. I see our Facebook community. I want to say happy Friday to our Facebook community popping in. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you guys for joining us. No comments there that I need to look at today. Well, fine. We're going to jump right into number three. Number three, let's talk about lending money. When it comes to having boundaries that will, in my opinion, enhance your relationship, you have to have rules about lending money. In my days of being a former athlete and talking to existing pro athletes and people in the entertainment world, you're subject to people being around and thinking you have more than what you actually have. We talk about, hey, setting these rules because now all of a sudden you have more cousins because you're successful. You have more cousins than you knew you had. You might only have really one cousin, but you may turn up with 100 cousins when you're doing well, right? So, what are your rules when it comes to lending money? I talk about it and say, hey, well, first of all, if I'm going to lend money, I need to make sure that I'm lending money in a way that I know that one, the person has a way of getting that back to me. And I know stay away from those leeches, right? I want to make sure that, I can get this money back. Number two, have we talked about the amount of money that we're talking about? What do we have a guideline of how we want to repay these things? I know when we're talking to our private investors and things like that, we want to make sure that we put a sound deal together that makes sense. It makes sense for all parties. One person doesn't mind lending, and the other person doesn't mind receiving a check in a passive income capacity. One of the best ways of doing that is make sure you pay for the money that you're borrowing. But I can't tell you how to set your deal. That's just one of those things that I think the banks don't lend you money for free. Uh, and we're trying to teach people how to become their own banking system. When it becomes lending money, I think the article was written just because it was talking about just some standardized rules of lending money. But guess what I'm tying into? Our conversation. Our conversation today is about our secret financial tool. If you have private funds sitting in our secret financial tool into these infinite banking strategies and concepts where we're using permanent insurance that earns dividends on everything we have, and we've talked about financing your entire life, why wouldn't you consider earning interest on the money that you lend out from the financial company that you're working with or the insurance company that you're working with at the same time as earning an interest rate from the persons that you're lending money to? These are just some smart money tips that I think more and more people need to start thinking about. Hey, becoming my own bank, it is not just a product. That is not what it is. It's a philosophy, it's a way of thinking. And that's what I mean when I say, let's do what millionaires and billionaires do. When they loan you money, they're loaning you money at an interest rate. And then they're earning money from wherever they position their money prior to lending it to you. So hopefully that sounds like a tongue twister. But if that was good, give me a thumbs up down in the comments. Please put your comment down below. I want to hear it. I want to hear it. I love hearts. Thank you. If you're out there, throw me a heart. I love hearts. I love hearts. And I love hearts all with my heart. I love my hearts. So if this is making sense, what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to get you to think about how you're using these tools in your everyday life. It doesn't have to be so difficult. It doesn't have to be so one sided. Hey, if I'm going to buy or purchase these items and these tools, how can I apply them to my everyday life? And this article was talking about financial wellness. Financial wellness when setting boundaries with my money. And I thought that was just fantastic because my one boundary that I want to put into this place is that I want to be earning on every dollar that I ever earned. It's simple as that. I want to be earning all the time, even when I'm not doing anything with it. If it's sitting, I just want it to earn, you know? And this is some of the rules when it becomes lending money. One of the last things when I'm lending money, I got to think about, once again, the good book that we still go by, The Richest Man in Babylon. Kaysen talked about it. And in the book, it talks about not lending money to people who don't understand how difficult it is to mine gold. In the book, they talked about gold. before there was cash. There was just gold. Well, gold is too heavy to carry around, and it was too hard to dig it up. So I can't just lend my gold to someone who's never necessarily minded gold or doesn't have a good idea or a sense of how difficult it is to attain gold, right? So when I'm making these decisions, I want to make sure that the paybacks are good for everybody. I want to make sure that both sides can see it in a way and you walk away feeling really good about the situation. Some people are giving, some people are building, and then hopefully those opportunities or seed capital, if you will, can grow bigger and better things for a community at large. Does that make sense? Am I losing anyone? Great, great. I love you guys. You guys. What are they saying over here in the chats? They're saying on every dollar. That's correct. Passive money is good. Passive money is good for those people who are just now following us and not sure what passive is all about. These are dollars that you don't have to pay taxes on. These are dollars that you get to take with you. And you don't have to do very much work. You know, this is when I talk about our lifestyle. I want to take a moment to say to you, if you haven't done it already, go online and join our lifestyle focused community. This is a great community of folks. And I'm glad that you're here. If you're here, go ahead and make a comment, share it with a friend, and tell them, hey, it's just $16 a month to have more access and more value. Become part of our newsletter. We'll put that down in the description below, and you can join. But here's the thing. When you're in a community where everybody you're talking to is taking advantage of the secrets that millionaires and billionaires do, how powerful is that? How powerful is that? When you have a community that's willing to give information to one another, and we're pooling our resources, our knowledge, and our expertise together, it's a powerful tool. I'm telling you, I absolutely love it. I absolutely love it. So remember, if you got comments below, put it in the comments. You can catch us at www.lifestylefocusedwealth.com or join our Facebook group. And you can put in Lifestyle Focused Wealth. Join our Facebook group. And if you're out there and you're listening, you want to be a part, join our Facebook group and we can talk to you about all the opportunities and things that we're doing. And hopefully you become a paying member. Our paying membership is a little bit different. Last night, we just had an event. We had a jazz event in Atlanta where we went and talked to a couple of artists that performed, obviously, and the select group got to meet some artists, but we were talking about things that they did right after the show. So these different details, when we're talking about the relationship and boundaries when it comes to money, I know that some of the relationships that I've had where I've loaned out money for music projects or starting a new business or different things like that, we're building relationships that are healthy, transparent, and healthy. And in your personal relationships, that might be a smart thing to do, is to have these conversations. So let's move on to number 4. Our fourth is to communicate boundaries. We have to talk about it. We have to talk about the boundaries. If we're not talking about it, we're having a problem. Okay? We're having a problem. And I think anytime that we're having discussions, it's healthy to think about and to discuss in a polite way, in a healthy way, what my limitations are, what your limitations are, and where we can meet in the middle. And sometimes they're just going to be a different viewpoint. It's just going to be a different viewpoint. There was a percentage that was thrown out in the article that I thought was interesting, that 58% of millennials and 57% of Gen Xers argue with their partners about finances. They do. They do. And this is according to the Breed Financial Study back in 2023, that this is inherently a bad thing. And if people are not having conversations, how can it be a healthy deal? The conversation about finances and money is essential. It's essential when it comes down to long-term relationships of any kind. One of the biggest uh, problems that relationships have is when it comes down to finances. And a financial conversation can prevent that. We're really trying to give you tools here to promote financial health, to promote mental health. Because if I know that the person I'm talking to is just as transparent about their emotions, their feelings as I am, we're not judging one another. Everybody comes from a different boat, you know. I like what you said down there. I do. Memories fade, contracts don't. Those are true. Those are true. And even sometimes in contracts, people forget what they are. So when we write these boundaries, we all got to abide by them. We can't just change it because someone's older than me and they said to do so. No, we have to keep these things in mind, and we want to continue to have these conversations in such a way, right? The relationship is the most important detail when it comes to having these discussions. And I'm trying to preserve the relationship. I want you around. Just like in this community, we want you around because the more that we're able to share why we're talking about lifestyle focus matters, why we could talk about what billionaires and billionaires and millionaires do, the more that we can save the most valuable asset we have is time. Really, we're just trying to give you your time back, give you your control back. Yesterday, I just had a client in here yesterday. Yes, I am working. I do have clients. We had a client come in our one-on-one, and we were talking about her bank account. I won't name the said bank, but this said bank had fees for everything. And one of the things she was having a difficult problem with was that she was using her bill pay to automate some of her savings habits and using our principles. And what happened is the bank started to charge her savings account and limited how many times that she could go in and out of it. Well, that just didn't work for her. An extra $10 fee, an extra $10 fee, an extra $10 fee. And then you can only use it 2 times. Well, the frustration just began to build up. And my question to her was, would you rather continue paying fees? Or would you want to put the money in your own bank? Because essentially you're doing the same thing. No, you're not a brick and mortar, but there's no relationship between you and the insurance company that you're using. And the boundaries are a contract, like our viewer just said. Memories fade, contracts don't. I have to use that. The contract is between you and the insurance company. So when I decide to talk about the boundaries, I know that I can put my money through it. I know that I can borrow up to 90% of my money. I know that when I take money out, I'm still earning a dividend as long as they're recognized. I know that I'm protecting myself against being sued and my assets are not out here as a liability. I know a few different things that we should communicate. And you can see that these are principles that we're doing right here on Lifestyle Focus Friday, you know? And I just like to think that the fact that we're all on the same page. But today, I got a surprise for you. I'm gonna give you a bonus. I'm gonna give you a bonus. I'm gonna give you a bonus because we always want to strive to give you more. We want to strive to give you more. Thank you guys for your comments inside. I see it. Must create boundaries, and others should respect those boundaries. They should respect those boundaries. You're absolutely right, Leela. Thank you for that statement. Sometimes people don't. Obviously, that becomes a legal matter if they don't do it, but you got to be prepared for that. That's why we call it when the lights go out, are you ready? Sometimes there's a lights out moment where we have to be financially prepared to protect ourselves, right? And all we're trying to do here is set up parameters, set up boundaries where we can protect ourselves at all times, make good business, and have wonderful solutions and live our lifestyles in a happy manner. And I think that's about as healthy as it gets. But when we're talking about protect your mental and financial health long term, that's the bonus. That's the bonus. I really think that. You said the banks are always happy to take your money. You wouldn't have a problem spending the money at your bank if it was your bank. If the banks are always happy, doesn't it make sense that you should be always happy? If you're always happy, that's really what we want. That's really what we want, right? Any more takeaways? Anybody else got some takeaways for us today? Before we get to the end, I'm just looking at all of our comments and I love hearing from you. So if you're visiting this in the replay later on, hey, just remember to share it with a friend. We're just asking you to come back and share it with us, and be sure to tell somebody what's going on. I just want to give you this as a bonus, and I think it's very clear that open communication when we're setting goals, they have to be clear, obtainable, and clear, right? Because this part of the deal can help you be more comfortable when it comes to creating boundaries and deals and maintaining these boundaries and being respectful of these boundaries and then growing. And once you start to see these things happen over and over again, the life on the other side of the world, what millionaires and billionaires do, is different. The concerns are different. The relationships are deeper. They're longer lasting. We're not having to prove ourselves with 7,000 pages of bank statements. You're not having to prove ourselves with tax returns. Everybody in the room has once dug up gold, and they understand how difficult it is to maintain and to attain the gold. It gets easier. It gets easier and easier and easier. And that's all we want to do is make sure that if we're setting these boundaries in early in a relationship, whether it be our personal relationship, business relationships, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. All you want to do is make sure, absolutely sure, that we're all taken care of. That we're all taken care of. Hey, listen, don't forget to click our button down low. Like, subscribe, share this content if you like it. Hit our notification bell. We want to make sure you don't forget to hit the notification bell. Why? Because if you don't hit the notification bell, we can't get to you. We can't get to you. And we want you to be there all the time. We want you to be here all the time. That way you can catch us. So listen, if you want a one-on-one consultation with me, or you want to hear something back from one of our lifestyle focused advisors, go on to lifestylefocuswealth.com, become a member. Don't forget, become a member and join. The second thing is, if you want to talk to me, go to roncojohnson.com and we can schedule a one-on-one opportunity to talk to you about building up your plans and making sure that your agreements and your boundaries are set so that you can go out here and attack the world just like the banks do. I think that's the best way of just making sure we're all taken care of. Is there any other comments in the dog pound today out there? I'm looking. I'm looking. I guess we did such a great job that we got everybody quiet in the room today. You guys are quiet in the room today. But that's okay. That's all right. I know that's because you're taking notes. I know that's because you're taking notes, right? That's all. That is all. I know that's because we're taking notes. Hey, well, listen, one of the things and one of the takeaways that I will share with you is that mental health is just as important as the financial health. Look, Leela, you're absolutely correct. It really is. It's essential. It's that important. Um, some people don't really realize how important that is. And if you don't realize how important it is, that can be a problem. That could be a huge problem. We want to make sure that, you know, one, if you're thinking clearly, there are going to be moments that are up and there's going to be moments that we're down. That's part of the deal. That's part of life. But when we go too far to the left, too far to the right, those boundaries keep us still in between the lines. And at the end of the day, being in between the lines is where we want to be. As long as we don't go outside of the lines one way or another, we don't want to hit nothing. We don't want to go off the road, off the beaten path. We want to stay right in the middle, you know? And it's okay to 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 let the wind take you just a little bit. But as long as we got boundaries in place where we can get back on course, I think all is well. And I think all will be okay. I'm looking at some of the comments it says, once we understand the concept of being your own bank, you'll be able to maintain your sanity. Well, actually, you're in control of your sanity. I like how that's saying that. 100% of the relationships are important mentally if they are healthy. 100% relationships. Yes. You know, I want to look at both of those comments and tie them both together. You know, when it becomes an understanding of what we mean by becoming your own bank, like I said, it's not a brick and mortar. It's really a lifestyle. It is just a lifestyle where you start to think more and more like the bank. And there's nothing wrong with that. The more and more we think about the bank, the more the lanes open up for us, the opportunities open up for us, the opportunity to do more business opens up for us. And then the better the deals we can do, we're structuring deals that make sense for both parties, just like the bank does all the time. And they're collateralized by our secret financial tool or real estate. These are some of the easiest ways to collateralize. One, if I pass away today, my life insurance can collateralize and I can pay back my debt. If I tie out a loan, if I take out a loan and I tie it to real estate, well, the appreciation in the real estate is something I don't mind taking that risk factor with. Most of our investors don't care because they know that the likelihood is that the real estate market goes up and down. So the risk to that is really small. But I guess that's because we're backing things by products that are more sustainable. Insurance companies, some of these insurance companies, most people don't know, they backed by gold and bonds, AA and AAA bonds and real estate. So start thinking about what these financial institutions do to make you feel comfortable to do business with them. But if you're thinking like a bank, you'll perform like one. And now you're in the game, and you're in the game in a different entry point. And when we're in a different entry point, all things matter. Another comment says the people that think that the boundaries are wrong are the ones who don't have respect for your boundaries. Yes, if they come in and they already think these boundaries aren't right. If you're gonna make little story, if you're gonna make a deal with little Jimmy, and little Jimmy out there has never did a bank loan, never bought a mortgage, never had any stocks, bonds, mutual funds, doesn't own any insurance, doesn't have any children that he takes care of. Little Jimmy probably is not the person that you want to do business with because he doesn't have a realistic set of goals. And that's what we've talked about. You got to have realistic sets of goals and people who understand exactly what we're doing so that they can respect our boundaries. Thank you for that one. Take many notes. Well, you can take all the notes. I will say this. I want to add to what you're saying. Take the notes. Take all the notes you want. But notes are just notes on a piece of paper. Apply the notes that you take. Because a lot of times when people are taking notes, they'll go home and forget that they wrote it down. Have you ever found a piece of paper or a booklet or a journal that you wrote this fantastic idea down and then you come back to it and they're gone? You say, well, I didn't do that, but that was a great idea. Why didn't I do that? It's because you didn't act on the idea. It's because we didn't act on the idea. So listen, we don't want that to be part of our makeup. We don't want that to be part of our makeup whatsoever. Uh, I just want you to be safe out here. Remember to keep us in your thoughts and in your mind. And go to roncojohnson.com if you need more help. I would love to help you. I would absolutely love to help you. So, how was our class today? How was our class today? Put it in the comment. Don't forget to write down there takeaways, 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 right? I'm looking. I'm looking. You get a WOW too, Leela. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you. Hey, listen, that's about my time today. And, I want to make sure everybody understands that. Um, we're off and getting this year started in such a great way. I just want everybody to be happy. So just remember, these are 4 ideas that set healthy financial boundaries that help you have a healthier, more detailed, and prosperous life. Hey, thank you for your time. This is when the lights go out. Are you ready? And it is Lifestyle Focus Friday. I'm your host, Ronco Johnson. Thank you very much for keeping you company. And y'all have a blessed weekend. And I'll see you next Friday at 1 o'clock right here, same place, same time. I want to say thank you for all of you taking time to join us. And I look forward to seeing you next time on When the Lights Go Out. Are you ready? I will see you soon.